All right, everybody, welcome to the Ink Panels Graphic Novel Book Club, episode 15. I am Dan. We have Gambit, Gambit's Ink, who, if you've picked up previews this month, you will see his name listed for the Red Sonja card set. He did art for it. We have Mars, That Comic Girl, Andrew, Comic Book Campaign, Jennifer at Comic Books Will Break Your Heart or Comics Will Break Your Heart on YouTube. And we're doing Jen's pick this month, which is Killadelphia.
Does everyone have their copies? Can we all hold our copies up? Wait, can someone take a screenshot? Does someone have a third or fourth hand to take a screenshot? I don't know.
A screenshot of this thing? I can take a screenshot with my hand.
Why can't we take a screenshot when it's uploaded?
Oh, I guess you're right. That would be easier. Yeah.
Oh my god! And we are live right now.
So, thank you to whoever's watching, who's just like, "Why the hell? This is just going to be the entire show. It's just us holding it up. We're going to go page
like this
by
the whole time."
page. Yeah.
No,
exactly.
but not the entire show, but just for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's weird. So
is it over?
Ronnie just messaged me saying he's on, but he's not here. So.
Did you send him the right?
Is he in the right stream?
Technical difficulties for anyone who's watching. Let me go ahead and while Dan is figuring that out, I'll maybe talk about why I picked this book. And it's mostly because Dan, talked about this book, and I think it was February or March, right before the pandemic started, had mentioned it, and I had seen it, and I'm like, I'll try. Issue number 1 came out. If I didn't get issue number 1 this week, I'll probably never get it. I'm just giving my hopes up. And luckily, I was able to catch up a little bit on it, and the issues that I was able to read, because I think I missed 1 or 2 during the weird quarantine pandemic thing. But this was such a great read. I really enjoyed it. Every time Dan talked about it, I'm like, okay, I have to pick this up.
Sorry, guys. Hold on.
No worries.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Well, I'm glad you did pick it up.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked
Me
up
too. And seriously, for the trade for $10, I know, I don't want to spend anyone else's money other than my own.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice sometimes, but for $10 for this, I don't know. Go pick it up.
That's one of that's why I think that out of all these things, Image Comics has the best plan to publish their books right now. Out of every publisher, of the big publishers out there, I think Image Comics has the perfect plan to publish their books. They release a few issues and then they release a trade, and that first trade, they usually release it for $9, $9.99, $10. That first trade, 6 issues, 5 to 6 issues, guaranteed that you're going to enjoy it for just $10. It's really difficult now. I mean, if you don't pick up one of their trades, that's a recommended trade or book, and you don't pick it up, you cannot say that it was because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
You buy a trade from Marvel for the same 6 issues, and they're gonna charge you easily for this trade. They would have charged you easily $17, $18 or something like
17.
that.
And sometimes $25 if it has an extra issue. And I feel the quality of the paper isn't very good. It feels flimsy. I went and picked up a couple of books, last month, and I think I picked up 4 Marvel books, and the person who gave them to me was like, "You got 4 books. This doesn't feel like it," and they were all Marvel. So not to crap on Marvel, but.
And with Image and their introductory trade price or whatever, when I first started reading comics 10 or so years ago, I was reading strictly DC Comics because it's what I knew. But then you walk into a shop, and our shop, the one I used to go to, they had a $10 introductory Image rack where everything on it was their $10 trades. And it was it was my step into
Perfect.
indie comics because I didn't feel like I was taking a big risk. It was $10. Like, there's no excuse not to pick it up.
Yeah. So for anyone watching who thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope you've already picked up Killadelphia, but if you haven't, it's $10. Definitely pick it up from your local comic book store.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Sorry
when
about
I
that.
did this show with you and Dan, what was it, like 3 weeks ago, and you guys were talking about it? Literally next day, went out and bought it because you guys wouldn't stop talking about it, and now I know why.
It's what we do, you know.
I definitely
I
was.
got it because I'm Andrew.
No, I was gonna say I got it because I like the first cover with the guy with the shovel and he's got a tie on, the student tie. If you have a student tie and a shovel, something's wrong. I don't
You
know.
know,
I was very
Something is
intrigued.
not going to end well.
I was very intrigued by the artwork. That's what kind of drove me into it, and I'm glad I did. I picked it up. I kind of was like the same way where I picked up like the first issue, read it, was like I love this, and then kind of got back into it. So I'm glad I did.
Okay, let me do something real quick. It says Ronnie says he's backstage, but I can't see him.
Okay. Maybe if we
all right, for those
pop
joining,
backstage. Yeah.
Okay, Andrew, I'm gonna remove you real quick, and
Okay.
I'll bring you back on. Okay.
Thank you for everyone who's holding it down, waiting for us while we have some weird technical difficulties. We're gonna get it figured out no matter what. We're not gonna stop.
Jen, was that a threat or a promise?
That both. I was just about to say I want to do this with you right now, like.
Wait.
Wait.
Yeah, it's always
the other
like,
one. The
weird.
other one. So if I lift this finger, and I go like this,
and if we go like this, wait, if we go like this,
Hey.
like this.
Andrew, I'm gonna kick you real fast. Just hit the link again after. Okay.
Oh my god!
Are we all adults?
That we're live.
No.
We're just
sorry guys for
around.
this difficulty.
Okay.
Oh brother.
I'm talking to people in the chat right here, so.
Oh, nice! I can do that. Can I add to? Get to the
Well,
chat?
I have YouTube on my iPad, so I'm just chatting, just saying hi to anyone who pops in. So if you're in the chat,
I should have gotten my laptop
listening,
for that.
Yeah. No worries. I gotcha.
Because I'm using my iPad to.
Hi, Kim.
Hey, look
Kim
at that.
joined us.
Live chat.
Okay, cool.
Kim Sandoval.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, do you see it? Yeah.
Hello.
Very neat.
Oh, this is.
Yeah. So.
Oh, fuck.
Should we? I don't know if we.
You want us to log out and log back in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody drop.
We're gonna
everybody
leave
drop
and we'll
out
be right
real
back.
quick.
We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm sorry, everybody. This is problems that we were not expecting. Trying to get our guest on.
Is Rodney there? Is he? And he's got the right link?
No, he's got the right link, but he's having problems getting it. It kept saying he's in the backstage, but he's not here.
He's not there. Yay! Sorry, my bestie's in the chat.
Oh boy, boy, oh boy. Okay, I'm hoping Rodney's getting my message. I'm really irritated. So while we are waiting, let's just start getting into the book.
Are we broadcasting right now?
We're still broadcasting. It's still going.
I was just about to start to talk trash, and here everyone is just watching me, and I'm just kidding. Sorry. Aw. My friend said to put my cat in. He's sleeping right now. Okay. So while we're waiting on Gambit, yeah, I don't want to talk too much about the book until Rodney gets here, because I really just want to be like, here's what I think about it, right?
And just kind of gush all over it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, my first impressions going in, like, what did you think it was going to be?
I honestly have no clue. I thought that it was going to be more of like a murder mystery in Philadelphia rather than like vampires.
Yeah.
That's what I thought that it was going to be.
That's what the first issue solicitations gave off. It really did. And especially we were talking about that first issue cover where it's the man in a suit and tie and a shovel. It's like, that doesn't scream vampires. Like, that screams murder mystery in Philadelphia.
Someone who made a mistake who wasn't planning.
Right.
Exactly.
But yeah, I didn't really know that much about the book in general at all. Yeah, that's the cover of the main character. Yeah.
Guess who's here?
Yay!
With all of the technology issues, here I am, a spilled Diet Coke and everything later.
No.
Hold on, just looking for a paper towel.
No worries.
It's okay. All right. Here I am.
We
Sorry,
really appreciate
guys.
you coming on. I thank you so much.
I've actually been on since 5:45 on a completely different link that has nothing to do with you guys, thinking I'm going to come and talk to you guys. But because I'm paranoid about being late, and here I am at 6:13.
Yeah.
Making the world.
Okay, Jen, introduce
See me as a late person.
No worries. No worries at all. This is your world. We're just living in it, man. No worries.
It's our world. It's our world. Never
so
mind.
we are so, like, I know for me, I don't know about everyone else, I'm really excited about having you on and talking about this book. So every month we do like this graphic novel book club where, originally it was, I forget what side it was, Dan and Gambit did it, and then Dan invited me on as a guest at one point, and then came on as like a permanent co-host. I don't know if I forced myself in here. Anyways, so this last month I got to pick what book it was, and Dan had told me about the single issues of this, and I didn't get number one, and then finally got all of them. And man, this was such a fun book. And as someone who, me personally, who loves, like, I love politics, I love history, I'm really into like weird niches of American history. So this just like, and weird vampire horror stuff. This book really did it for me, man. So
thank you very much. I'm glad you dug it. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I know that we were on here earlier doing like introductions, but do we want to, Rodney, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Rodney Barnes. That book that you like so much, Killadelphia, I wrote that, and I'm a screenwriter as well, and a bunch of other things that have to do with writing.
Yeah.
I loved your Lando book that you wrote.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. At least I've come to find the Star Wars fans are very passionate. So when they hate something, they let you know. They're the loudest haters of all the haters in the Star Wars, in the comic book universe. If you write something they don't like, they will tell you and threaten you and do all kinds of manners of mean things when they don't like what you do. But I didn't get as much hatred Falcon got a lot of hatred. The Falcon was a lot of hatred,
Yeah.
but Lando not quite as much. The hatred is actually diminished over the years as this comic book thing has gone on. So I'm in a good place, but I'm glad. Thank you for.
We saw the good news also about the sales jumping up on Killadelphia and Blumhouse sniffing around. Great news because it's a book that we've been championing and we got people to start reading, which I love. I feel like I'm doing my job.
Yes. It's very much on behalf of Jason, Shawn, Alexander, and myself, and everybody, all the Killadelphia folks. We appreciate it.
I got to say, Jason, Shawn, Alexander, I can't picture another artist on this book. Like, his art just matches the vibe of it so perfectly.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with my relationship with Jason. I've pitched Jason a lot of things, and he said no for many years. And so I knew I had to pitch something that emotionally worked in his wheelhouse. Because he's a diva. He's an artist diva guy. And there are a lot of things he wouldn't do. And a lot of dinners. I did a lot of pitching. And finally, I hit something. He said, oh, yeah. And it still didn't feel like he was saying yes. But then after a week, he said, that thing you pitched me the other night, how about we do that? And so I think it works because I had to tailor something to him because, as I said, he's a diva.
And he's not here to defend himself.
Yes, no, he's not. That's how I can say anything like that. But he knows. I say this to him at least twice a week when he tells me to change something. So yeah, he knows. He knows how I feel.
So, did you have the vampire story worked out first, or was it the John Adams twist? Like, what came first?
The vampire story came first because I'm a big. I know I'm the oldest one here, but I'm a big fan of the show Kolchak the Night Stalker.
I watched that.
And the movie of the week that dealt with the vampire, written by the great Richard Matheson, it sort of infected me. Like a vampire would if he bit me. And I fell in love with the idea of writing one day when I grew up, I was going to write a vampire story. And over the years, the story would morph and shift in a lot of different ways. But all the other elements, the father-son aspect of it, the Philadelphia aspect of it, the John Adams aspect of it, all of that stuff came together later. Actually, the John Adams part came in about, I've seen Hamilton at least 25, 26 times live.
Wow.
And so every time the king would come out and he would mention John Adams and or someone would mention John Adams, they do it as a joke. Like he was laughed at. So I was like, okay, if I was John Adams and I was sitting in the audience and I was a vampire and people were laughing at me, I wouldn't like that very much. And so that sort of was the beginning of, let me look into this John Adams guy. And even though he has a big name, he still isn't given like the Thomas Jefferson, George Washington treatment by history. So it was like, with each character, each of the main characters, I wanted to give some type of emotional idea under them that they had to work through. There was something like the father-son with the Sangsters, John Adams and Abigail with their marriage, and John was still dealing with his own insecurity and that type of thing. And then Tevin, having been a guy who had no power and seen no future for himself and was kind of focused on survival. Now he's got immortality and survival really is taken off the table as an idea. So he's wrestling with who he wants to be for eternity. So I wanted to kind of give everybody something that they, no pun intended, could sink their teeth into. And there you go. And kind of go forward, that way.
I have a quick question. Who did you drag with you to see Hamilton 25 times?
Oh, a lot of different people. A lot.
Everyone wants to be your friend.
After a while, my kids were like, "We get it. We don't want to go anymore. We're good with the CD and singing the songs, and we're good. We don't need this." So
what's your favorite song?
Who was Battle of Yorktown,
okay,
because live you can't beat it. Live as far as performance wise, when they all start jumping around and stuff. And the lighting is so great. I saw on Deadline this morning that the guy who did the lighting, I don't remember his name, just passed away, but he won a Tony for the lighting, and the lighting is fantastic. And that period of the show sort of frames like what they do, simulating battle and the intensity of war without really ever doing anything other than dancing, is kind of fantastic to me.
That's very cool.
I had a question about your writing on John Adams. Do you write him from an angle of he feels disrespected, or is it hubris that he can fix everything that's broken?
Both. I think both. That's simple. I mean, I think that he wants to believe he can fix it because none of the other guys are there. And if I can fix it, I can sort of create this this image of myself to myself that I'm not what they said I was. And I think I kind of took on, I don't know about any of you, but I have a lot of regrets growing up. Just lefts and rights and things I wish I would have done differently that I really wish I could correct. And if I had immortality, to do it, and I had the power to be able to change things, I think it would be like Stephen King's 11/22/63, where you think you can change things and they're going to get better, but somehow something else gets worse. Maybe because I've read a lot of books that had that theme about you could never go back and fix anything. But I think his idea is to practically fix things, but also emotionally fix things within himself. So I think it's a dual track.
That was
let's go one by one with the panel.
I just have a comment about that. That was one of my favorite lines in the book whenever John Adams says something, and this is me paraphrasing it, something along the lines of, I have something that all of the other founding fathers don't have, and that's perspective. And I think that that's really important. I'm very into politics and American history. And I think that, with the way that the founding fathers wrote the Constitution and, thinking that they owned slaves, and did they really think about freedom for everyone? I don't think so. So I enjoyed that part. Now, kind of on that question, the question that I had was knowing a little bit about conspiracy theories and American history. Was there anything that you uncovered doing research about this? Did you find out something crazy about John Adams or Abigail Adams that you're like, I'm going to go down this 3 a.m. wormhole on the internet?
It wasn't so much that there was anything. The only thing, it's not so much a crazy thing as much as it was Adams and Abigail were kind of progressive for their time. And it seems like that sort of worked against them for the period of time that they were operating in. Adams didn't own slaves. Abigail had a women's rights thing. They were all kind of progressive as a family because they were a political family, because his son eventually became president as well, and various other places in politics that they occupied. And that sort of worked against them. It wasn't so much a thing to where we would laud them, you would think, and say that, they were very forward thinking. But when you think that everybody around them sort of owned slaves or played a role in maintaining the institution, and the way women were treated and virtually how everybody was treated during that period of time, that wasn't like a white dude, and a rich white dude for the most part, because the Irish were treated poorly and there were other people, indentured servants, that were treated poorly. But yeah, that was the thing. The fact of their forward thinking was held against them. Like oftentimes today, folks who are thinking progressively sort of are, beaten over the head with a wooden spoon. And then later on, we find out that they're actually heroes, So yeah.
For sure.
Mars.
Yeah.
Mars.
Oh, me. So I really love this book. Because I grew up right outside of Philly. So basically right in Philly. So it was really cool because I was able to see scenes and backgrounds where it's I used to hang out there and I know exactly where that is. So other than, like the obvious connection between the founding fathers and Philadelphia, are there any other particular reasons why you chose Philadelphia as your location?
Yeah, because you have such a strong political thing happening in Philadelphia. I'm from Annapolis, Maryland. There's a cat.
Yeah, sorry.
I
know
just wanted to point out that I saw a cat. Because sometimes I'm always afraid, like I'm going to have a stroke or something, and things are happening, and I'm losing my mind. But there's actually a cat. I'm from Annapolis, Maryland, which also has a strong political, historical thing. And the thing with Philadelphia is, even though it has all of that history, it's suffering a lot of social ills right now. The homicide rate, a lot of political dissent, and a lot of stuff. So to me, it sort of was the perfect place to fit both ideas of a rich history in politics, plus the social commentary, without actually having to make a lot of social commentary, because the reality of the thing speaks for itself. So I don't have to say, they're struggling, this is bad, homicide, drugs, blah, blah, crime. It already is sort of baked into the DNA of what a lot of inner cities are dealing with, but also with a really strong, rich political, backdrop.
Absolutely. And I was telling Dan too, I was like, kind of going back to those Philadelphia roots. I told Dan, I was like 3/4 of the way through the back book, and I was like, Dan, I was like, this would be a perfect book, but it's missing one thing. I was like, I need somebody to say John. And I literally flipped 3 pages through, and there goes Tevin talking about how Creed was a John. Was like, perfect book.
You got it.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see my home city represented in this book, and I thank you so much, because it's little subtle things like that people like. I don't know if anybody else that's here that read it realized how much of like a Philly inbred thing that is, but it's really important. It's great, man.
I didn't want to do it like, thank you. I didn't want to do it like Creed, like the movie Creed, where he's saying it like they have a whole John scene. I just wanted to slip it in conversation and then get out, because, oftentimes when people do regional dialogue and they find a thing, everybody's saying that thing, like John Adams would be saying, everybody would be saying it. And I'm like, let me say it once or twice, and then I kind of did that, and let me keep moving.
And then you cut it out. It was just perfect.
Thank you, Andrew.
I kind of cut the line before, but I want to bring up one of my favorite quotes. I actually was a history major in college, and I switched to advertising. But my favorite quote in the book was when they say, like, don't stop until you see the blood in their eyes. I love that quote. That was awesome.
Thank you.
I also like the quote about the carbs, about like which one was which comes first, like killing you the carbs. That was good.
Keto.
So the keto. Yeah. Oh, he's on the keto diet. Yeah. Mr. Barnes, the real reason you wrote this book was to bring cursive back. Is that correct? I heard a rumor.
That was Jason Shawn Alexander. He said, and it's funny because people think when certain decisions are made, like I made all of the decisions, and I did not make all of the decisions. Jason said, hey, wouldn't it be cool, and I could do this thing where, like, you could see, as we're telling the story, you could see the cursive. And back to that hatred Twitter thing, where people were like, I can't read. Like, I guess today cursive isn't something that a lot of people like read or do. And so the cursive, I caught some hell from the cursive a lot, really? But that was Jason's idea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, but I used to work at as a social worker in a middle school, and it blew my mind when the kids didn't know how to read a clock. They didn't know how to. That no one teaches them that, and like they're all on their laptops now, and I'm like, no one knows cursive. So I think it was a good idea. I enjoyed that part. I was like, I have to read cursive now. It's making me work.
You have to send a tweet to me later, and I'll retweet it to all of the people that hated me for not being able to read the cursive and blaming me for the cursive. I'll say it was Andrew. I'll say Andrew. I'll say the hell with all of you, because Andrew loved it.
Yeah.
See, there you
I've waited like 2.5 weeks to make that joke, so I hope I did it.
Oh, man.
All right, good.
You shot your shot.
Yeah, and I actually, someone who I never really get the opportunity to talk to anyone, a creator like this, really. So I want to talk about like brainstorming. When you brainstorm like the father-son aspect, did you ever think of the son being a firefighter? I'm just curious, like, because with the firefighter vampire, like fire, and the dad's the cop, and he doesn't like his dad, so he
becomes something completely different.
He becomes a firefighter. Did you ever think of that in the brainstorming?
I never ever. I always had the idea. My father was a police officer, and he was a photographer, and we didn't really get along. I didn't meet him until a little bit later in life. But I used to. This was back when you had to develop photos in a dark room with the water and the paper and hang them up on a line to dry out. And I remember seeing a picture one time of a homeless guy, and he had a lot of bite marks on him. And I asked him what that was, and he said the rats sometimes will get to the homeless people before we do. And I was like, those weren't rats, they were vampires. And I didn't say it out loud, but I said it in my head. And because my father and I didn't have the closest of relationships, and he was a police officer, I kind of projected onto myself that if I were, and I have some of the traits, some of the things I least liked about him, I actually had as a person. And that's the most frustrating part of being me, one of the most frustrating. And so it was like, why not kind of work all of that stuff out between this father and son dynamic? And I hesitated making that story the first story, but if I had made the John Adams part the first part, it would have been the John Adams book, and I think you would have ignored the other stuff. So there you go. No firefighter. Had to be a cop.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I was not expecting this book to make me cry at the end.
My God. I'm sorry.
It made me cry. I'm a father as well, and I have some daddy issues, and I try not to work that into my relationship with my son. So I can, that father-son aspect of the book, I cannot relate to it. I really enjoyed the book a lot. Like one of the things that I liked, aside from the art and the writing, was how their plan didn't work. They had this plan. They say, okay, so this is happening. This shit's real. And this is what we're going to do tomorrow. And then you turn the page and the next issue comes in and it's the city is fucking dying. Everybody's killing everyone. All the vampires are out. And it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, so there goes that plan. That's something that I really enjoyed because I was not expecting it. And I wasn't expecting to have the president being the head vampire.
A lot of people don't like that whole John Adams thing, but I'm glad you guys did.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. It's so good.
I think it's a nice touch. Is there any plan at some point to have a story of Adams and Lincoln fighting? Being Lincoln a vampire hunter.
Well, here's the thing. I can't tell you what's going to happen because technically Adams is dead. So, when you're dead, you're kind of dead. I will say that at some point, there may be another person from history, a prominent person from history. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I'm looking off into my thoughts.
Would you say presidential?
Hamilton.
I would say prominent historical person because I can't give it away. Then Jason would be really mad at me if I gave it away. But he just drew it. He just drew it, and it was really beautiful.
Nice.
History will always be a character in this book. I will never ignore history because I think even the idea of the plan not working, as you were saying, to me, that kind of goes with the idea of America and the constant state of change, that we have a lot of problems that we've had for so many years that haven't gone away. And we keep getting new administrations in and we keep getting new promises and there's so much optimism and hope. but oftentimes the same problems seem to go on administration after administration after administration. So in the big problem of the book, the big conflict of the book, I didn't want a solution. I don't want a solution per se, because I don't think we actually get to solutions. I think we manage issues, because as long as you have people and you have a free, in quotes, society, you're never going to be able to completely eliminate everybody's ill. There's always going to be something that we have to work on. So if you create a dilemma and you say that there's an absolute solution for it, I don't think that's realistic. I think we manage issues into the future. So that's sort of what that whole thing about, you'll never completely get rid of vampires the same way you'll never completely get rid of racism. You'll never completely get rid of any ism. There'll always be, because you can't legislate how people feel about other people. You can make a law, but then there'll be another group that's trying to circumvent that law to get, exact their goals. So that sort of is what the whole vampire thing is. We can kind of try to contain it and live with it, but we'll never really completely be able to get rid of it. We just have to like.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Was there a certain issue or moment that you enjoyed writing more than most? Like that stood out to you even writing it, that you were like, I nailed it, like this?
Oh, I never felt that in my entire career. I will never feel like I nailed something. There's way too much anxiety in here to do that. I think when I wrote the first book, it came out how I wanted it to. I think that last page of when he opens up the coffin felt like how I wanted it to feel to me. And you can only hope. You can never predict how the rest of the world is going to receive something creatively that you do. But for me, sitting in a room by myself, looking at what Jason and I were able to, my words, his images, we kind of make that marriage between those two. It felt right to us, and so you can only hope that everybody else gets that same feeling.
For me, like my favorite issue is the John Adams issue with him, basically going through his history.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite moment was Tevin talking to his grandmother when he's talking about keeping her alive, and she's like, "No, I'm ready. I don't want to keep going."
That's actually mine too. That's actually my favorite, of moments. Not so much the entire story, but of a moment. That moment was based on, I was with my grandmother when she passed away. She had a stroke. And I wanted the feeling of that moment to be the feeling that you just expressed about that scene. Because it wasn't one, I think Tevin was a lot more sad. I was sad, but I almost felt like it was an honor to have been able to be raised by this person, that we spent time on earth together. And so it was such a mixed feeling of sadness because someone that I loved and someone who had meant so much to me was gone, but also a feeling of being honored that we were together, and also a feeling that I now had to step into a role that she used to occupy. Like now I sort of have to grow up in a way. I'm still working on that part, but I have to now occupy the space that she occupied. So I wanted that moment to feel, yes, that was my favorite moment. Yeah,
very much the turning point in Tevin's character arc too. I feel too.
Mm-hmm. For it being so early in, for being 2 books in, because in the first book he's sort of the bad guy chasing our hero, and then in the second book he's doing something that's kind of altruistic or feeling something that's empathetic, which you don't typically see vampires feel.
Yeah.
He's very conflicted by issue 2, and it's starting to eat at him more and more. Jennifer, express what you liked.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked the John Adams, like going through history and giving some of that. When one of the like other questions that I might have or that I have is when I read this, I had recently watched Candyman. And so there's moments in the book that maybe it's just because it's a city and it echoed some of that. I got serious Candyman vibes from it and I have no clue why. Like I truly don't know why. Like I can't like pinpoint anything. But there is a line in the book where you say something or that says, even in hell, your suffering will be legendary, which is like a paraphrase of Hellraiser. So what did any horror influence this book? Like, I get the horror themes, but is there anything specific that you want to mention?
Well, that line specifically, a broken version of that line, my wife at the time, when she was divorcing me, said that to me, and it stuck. And that was fun. I said, okay, that's all right. And I said, man, I'm gonna use that one day. And so her saying it to him sort of fit in that moment. No, believe me, we're good now. We're good, but at the moment, way back then, she wanted to suffer. She's done well for herself by my not suffering as much as she would have wanted me to. But I think the Candyman part of it for me is visual and tonal from all of the graffiti and feeling like Cabrini Green did in the movie. It's like the dopest thing about Candyman to me was it felt like an inner city. You could almost smell it in a way. And a lot of movies that happen where you have horror in the city, they really don't get into the specificity and nuance of what a city feels like. They kind of just shoot buildings. They don't get into all of the stuff that makes a city when you get into the nooks and crannies of the city. And I think Candyman did that really well when you were in the housing projects and you were in like the art, the way the graffiti worked with the horror. And I think what Jason did was sort of lend that tone there, that even things that weren't on the page that I had written, he creates a sense of dread that comes from the environment, like all of the stuff that comes from the environment. And to me, that speaks like a Candyman type vibe for me.
I just moved to Portland into a city, and I've never lived in a city before, so I feel that like city. There's an interesting element there, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mars.
So kind of circling back to when we were talking about isms and talking about what's to come in the future for Killadelphia. Would you say that, with like our current climate and things that are going on right now, both maybe between the Black Lives Matter movement and between the whole COVID-19, epidemic that's going on right now, would you say that any of those current events have kind of influenced the way that you write things or the way that you perceive things going forward with a book that already feels like it almost feels like it's ahead of its time by even just a couple years, and it already is a book that is filled with so much politics?
Kind of. What I wanted to do was I didn't want to take a position. It's like oftentimes in politics, there's a good guy and a bad guy. And when comics take on like they're woke and they're supposed to check boxes when you're woke to do certain things, I didn't want to make judgments. I just wanted to tell a story. And within that story, I put different perspectives in so that the characters are making decisions and thinking in specific ways that sort of mirror the world that we're in. But the story itself is just the story. Like, I didn't want protests in the streets. I didn't want, you're not going to see people wearing masks. You're not going to have mask arguments or saying that, even when I had a panel where you had the walk through time, when Adams is going through time, I have a panel with Obama and Trump, but I never say one is good or bad. They're just kind of there. And you can take from that that's the world that we live in. And there's a tone that comes from the polar opposites of those guys that speaks for itself, that I don't have to say one is good and one is bad. And I don't have to make a judgment. It's like, because I never liked, I grew up with the Twilight Zone and Star Trek and
Star Trek. Sorry.
Yes. Where it's like, it was a lot of social commentary, but it was very much of its time and of its day. Like you would have a guy that had black on one side, white on the other, and the other one had black on one side, white on the other. And it was a statement about how we're all the same and, this is stupid, this fighting. I think the nature of the world that we're in right now, the problems are so layered because there's so many different factions. I don't think there's any one way to say right or wrong except that be kind. Other than then somebody say, why we got to be kind? Hey, we have the right, don't kind shame. We don't mean shame people. So it's like once you go down the rabbit hole of making opinion, to me, you step out of genre. I let the story tell the story. You take from it what you will, and try not to inject too much of myself into the story. And I think oftentimes when you have books that have people of color in them, there's an expectation that it's going to have social commentary in it as well, and that you're going to bring like this weight of social commentary into it, and you just have to take that because that's what comes with the book. And I wanted to just tell a story. I wanted to just be in a place where I'm doing a purely genre story that just has political, it just so happens that it has these political figures in it, but it's a true vampire book, and I'm going to remind you every 3 or 4 pages that it's a vampire book because the vampire things are going to be done. But in between, the other characters are wrestling with, problems, and they're human problems. And it just so happens that those people happen to be of color.
Absolutely.
Andrew.
Oh, hey.
I see how this is working. There's a pattern that you're falling into. I think the cat should ask a question next. Go ahead.
I like your idea of the cat asking a question. My background, first of all, I looked at your IMDb page. I'm blown away. I just want to put that out there. I love Major Payne. I must have rented that movie from Blockbuster and watched it about 9 times in the 3 days.
I'm actually in that movie, and they cut my scene.
Oh, really?
So if you look at the credits, I have a credit in the acting part, but I'm not in the movie. But I actually was in the movie. But,
and I'm a huge comedy guy. I love the Wayans brothers, so it's even kind of cool just talking with you and seeing that you guys are so close. So I went through like my history major advertising. I'm actually a social worker now. I'm a licensed social worker. You're just kind of normalizing bringing your own, you're an adult male talking nonchalantly about your own personal life and how you're kind of exposing yourself in the comic book, and it seems very normal. I mean, did you have any reservations? I think it's great. Did you have any reservations about being so open about being so close to your personal kind of life?
I have to tell a quick story now, so please indulge me. You have to go to the bathroom.
I'm sorry.
The first 10 years of my career, my TV writing career, were pretty difficult. I didn't just come to California from Maryland with this dream. I brought a lot of insecurity and fear with me as well. And I used to think that if things worked out, I would be happy. Like if I got what I wanted and my dream came true, that everything would work out and I'd be in this great place. Well, it didn't work that way. And in 2012, I got really sick and I almost died. And had a liver failure, kidney failure, and a heart attack. It was like boom, 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 all at the same time. And I was really angry at the time too, because I'm thinking, what did I do that was so bad that I should be in this position? I was in and out of the hospital for about 4 to 6 months. And there's a period, if you ever have an extended stay in a hospital, that you start to wonder, am I ever going to be free again? Am I ever going to get out of this situation? But it gave me a lot of time to think. And a guy by the name of Devon Franklin, who is a prominent figure out here in Hollywood, he came to see me. And he's a pastor and he's a Hollywood executive. And those two don't really go. It's kind of like John Constantine, I guess. He's a good guy and a bad guy at the same time. And not him. I'm just saying those two roles. So I love you, Devon. And so he said to me, he asked me why I write. And I told him that I write because when I was a kid, and I'm the only child, the stories that I saw spoke to me in a different kind of way than they did my friends. And I connected to it in a different kind of way. And he said, well, that's like a heart thing, right? And I said, yeah, I want to tell the stories that are in my head, and I hope that people receive them the way you guys have. And he said, so what are you doing now? And as I thought about it, I was just kind of making money. I really wasn't writing the stuff that I wanted to write, and I really wasn't speaking from a heart place. I was just kind of, once you get into the world of sitcoms, for me, and for other people it could be completely different, it's sort of like a factory. And every week you're going to make one. And with the stuff that I loved is the stuff that I'm doing now, vampires, monsters. I'm a child of that stuff. And I wasn't really writing to my heart. And so I made a promise to myself when I was in the hospital. If I ever got out, I got an opportunity to do this thing again, I was going to do it differently. So I was going to, the stuff that you think you're hiding as a human being, I think, the facade of I'm perfect and everything's great and look at me, I'm on top of the world. And don't you wish you guys were doing what I was doing? Because it's all great over here. It's a lie. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, there's some BS that comes with it. And there's fear and anxiety and trauma and all kinds of stuff that I've had to work through in life. And the most cathartic thing is being able to sit down and write to that stuff from an honest place and not necessarily try to act like I'm competing with someone, because I'm actually just competing with myself to be a better version of myself. So that's my long-winded answer, Andrew. I hope in a minute.
No, that was great. No, thanks for sharing that.
There you go.
Gambit.
I think it's great to see a male writer being comfortable to writing about personal experience and personal stuff. One can identify with that. Going with that story about doing, if you get the opportunity to do it again, and writing from your heart. When you pitch this book for Image Comics, do you pitch it to other companies as well, or was it straight to Image Comics? And do you do it do you had a full script ready when you were pitching the idea?
At first, I think we pitched it to Jason, had a relationship at Vertigo, and I think we pitched it there first, and I think they just didn't get it. It was too like a president and vampires, and I don't understand. And so Jason had been working at Image on Spawn, so he had a relationship with Image, and I went back and I didn't do a full script, but I broke out the first arc of stories, and just kind of did it the way that I would do it for a TV show. I just created like a show Bible, and I just broke down every episode, a lot of specifics within the episode and issue and what I wanted it to be, and that's what we turned into Image and got them to say yes.
So more like a pitch document than a full script.
More than a pitch document. I think Jason may have done some art. I don't remember, but I think he may have done a few images as well. But the trust was really more with them and him, because he had the relationship and had delivered with Spawn for so long that if he dug it, it must be okay. Yeah. And I think they're happy with it now. But at the time, he was the one with the weight that got us through.
I love his work, and I can relate to the story when you call him a diva. Of one of my first projects, my friend decided to do a zombie comic so that he could be able to convince me to draw it for him, because otherwise I was not gonna draw it. So I can relate to the story. And
Jason is worse than you. I promise you. Whatever your idiosyncrasies are, Jason's magnified by 10. There are many nights I've had to take him to restaurants and feed him and water him and beg and yell. And Jason is way worse. I promise you.
This is the first time I see his work, and I think, like Dan said at the beginning, I don't think the book would have worked so well with a different artist. I think this is the perfect artist for this book, and I'm really glad that I got to enjoy it. And I'm kind of sad that I didn't pick it up when it was single issues, and I waited onto the trade to get it. But it was worth it.
Well, I would love to say someone else other than Jason would have done a way better job, and I would love to be able to say that there are other artists that would have been better. Just because I like to make Jason. We argue every week. We come up with a pattern of there's this euphoria, but then by the end of the week, there's hatred. It's like there's a moment in a week where we're not talking to each other, and we're very passive aggressive in our text. So I would love to be able to say that a myriad of artists, Bernie Wrightson would have been way better than Jason. I would love to be able to say that, but I won't say that because Jason is the right guy, and I always say he's my husband. You know, he's my husband, and I will be the wife, and we switch roles. We role play throughout the course of this show.
Now we know what the second arc is going to be like.
Spoiler.
A lot of S&M.
Spoiler.
Yes, a lot of S&M. Damn it, I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, you know, right away from that Scotty Young cover with Abigail.
There you go.
For issue 7 coming out.
Yes.
That was totally the vibe that I got when I saw some of her outfits. Yeah.
To that point too, I think Jason's relationship with the artist that we get for the variant covers, because I have, you know, no relationship with anybody except for the people I've done other books with. But, you know, high five to Jason for getting those folks to come on and doing variants for it, because I think that's part of the culture of the book, is that there's an expectation of what's the variant cover going to be. And I think the respect that folks have for Jason and Jason's art has helped us immensely with creating that sort of vibe of, you know, there's Jason's cover, but then there's this other interpretation of what the book and the story is, and it makes it really, really cool.
There's a Murderer's Row coming up for 7, 8, and 9, where you have Scotty Young on the variant, you have Bill Sienkiewicz on issue 8, and then issue 9 is Francesco Mattina with the new vampire that's under Abigail's control. I read that little summary. Vicious vampire, supposedly.
I've seen them all, and Todd, I think the great Todd McFarlane is doing a cover for us as well. So it's like, man, you know, and I've seen them all, but I can't. Which is cool. But
we are running out of time with you because I promised Carlos I would have you out in an hour.
Yeah, the hell with Carlos. Carlos gets paid. Carlos says, I'm the guy you got to worry about. It's like, wait a minute, Lovecraft Country is on. What am I doing on here talking about? Like, yeah, it's DVRing. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, because he sent an email. He's like, he's great to communicate with too. He's been a pleasure.
If y'all really knew who Carlos was, I'm going to tell the truth about today. They're not great people. They're not these wonderful, nice people that they purport themselves to be. Both of them are evil. There you
go. So I will say, after reading this first arc, weirdly, I had that moment of, if there wasn't another book coming out, issue 6 would have ended the book perfectly. It had resolution without the Abigail, the next great evil coming up. But it was so satisfying by the end, where it felt like it wrapped everything up nicely. And I'm gonna say something that, to me, this is probably the most important vampire book since 30 Days a Night, where it put a twist on a genre that most people don't try to push the boundaries on.
Yeah.
And you did a wonderful job with this, you and Jason.
I truly appreciate that. I think and I hate to say this kind of stuff because everybody, I'm sure you guys talk to different creators and they're all going to say what I'm about to say. And they don't really mean it, but they say it because they have to say it because they do a thing. I actually think the second arc of the book is better. Because it's more expansive. I'm very proud of what the first arc is. And I thank you for the compliment. I think what I wanted it to feel like is, if you ever watched the show The Wire on HBO's The Wire.
That's what I compared this to.
But there was always, like, at the end of the season, you felt like it was the closing of a chapter of a book. Like, if you had to end it right there, you did get a fully satisfying feeling. You didn't necessarily need a cliffhanger in order to be able to get people to come back, hopefully. What I wanted to do was to build off of that and expand it even more so, and go deeper into some emotional areas and horror, psychological stuff. And I actually think, I don't know if it's because of COVID and we're just all depressed and we're in the house and we don't have anything to talk else to do. That we can take that sadness and put it into the book. But I think it's going to go well, and I'm a pessimist. So there you go.
We had some questions from the chat.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Oh.
I was just about to say, if you have time for 2 questions, it looks like there's 2 from the chat.
Not to pay attention to Carlos. I have time.
Okay. One of the questions from I Freaking Love Comics is, what's the status on possible spin-offs?
There's a spin-off of Killadelphia coming in the spring of 2021.
Ooh.
Okay.
Any deets that you can share?
It's a spin-off of someone that's connected to someone is going to do something in a book that's scary.
Insert name here, 416, who I believe is one of your huge Twitter fans. Has Rodney, are there any updates on the Killadelphia TV show?
Yeah, I just finished the outline, and I've got to turn it in at some point within the next week or so. I hope the people from Levantine aren't watching this because it was due 2 weeks ago. But I had the other outline for the other thing in, so I wanted to take my time. But the outline is in. Hopefully they like it, and it will be in, and hopefully they'll like it, and could be off the script, Lord willing.
Anybody else got any questions that you'd like to hit them with?
I don't have a question, more so just a comment that while I probably shouldn't, I am a huge fan of Abigail and I would follow her anywhere.
Same.
Abigail's dope. Abigail is spooky. I always want Abigail to be who Abigail is becoming and who hopefully she becomes. And hopefully the nemesis, you'll like the nemesis that's coming for Abigail as well. I can't say who that individual is.
Yeah, like
they're giving away who the other individual is. and what's the point? What's the point of getting a book?
Like even before picking up, like the first trade and reading through it and finally meeting Abigail, just those few variants alone, like the solicitation for the Scotty Young one, but especially that daily one of her. And it was just like, I think they're kind of
like the Scotty. I like the Jay Lee. I love the black, the way all of the black came together.
Yeah.
And, I thought the Jay Lee one was dope as well.
It's great.
I have a non-Killadelphia question. I saw that you're working on a. I know Dan's like, keep it to Killadelphia. I'm like, I'll try, but I have all these. Are you working? So you're working. Are you a big basketball fan? You're working on the Showtime, the Lakers show.
I am. We just Max Borenstein and I. We just turned in our next to last script, I believe, to HBO. The great folks at HBO. It's very proud of what we're doing. I think it's the most comprehensive sports scripted show that I can recall ever coming in contact with. I'm running through my brain now, and I hope the folks will dig it.
Should Kobe replace Jerry West as the logo of the NBA?
Wow. I don't know. There was an argument for a long time that Michael Jordan should. The Jumpman symbol was closer. I'm going to say no. I mean, I understand why that question would come up, but and as much as I really respect and love what Kobe contributed to the Lakers and basketball, I like the logo.
Yeah, me too. I'm from Chicago. I'm not a Lakers fan at all.
Okay.
I don't.
I was like Lakers fan. Yeah, it's like I'm more of a Lakers fan now that I've come to have this immersive study into who the Lakers were. It's like I know too much about the damn Lakers at this point. But yeah, I was always a 76er fan, and because I'm from Maryland, I was a Baltimore/Washington Bullets/Wizards fan for a long time. So the Lakers were always like the bad guys unless they played the Celtics. Then they were the good guys. So, it's fun being able to go back because that's when that period of time we're tackling the Magic Johnson, Dr. Buss era first. That was when I was really a fan. That's when I was in the like I had watched it as a kid but you, as a kid, you really don't understand all of the other stuff that's going on other than it's like basketball and it's a game. But with the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the personalities started to come out. And I think media-wise, basketball was taken seriously as a sport in a different way because they used to do the NBA championships and the playoffs on a tape delay. And you would have to stay up until midnight to watch it because nobody cared. And then something happened around the Bird Magic era where basketball sort of got on this track that it's still on right now of kind of moving up to being a really important sport.
And then the king of petty, Michael Jordan, came out. I watched that Last Dance documentary, and wow, he's the pettiest human being walking this earth.
I felt bad for Scottie Pippen. I felt bad for Horace Grant. There's a lot of people. Yeah, Scott Burrell got it bad. It was like, man, but he's still Michael Jordan. He's the greatest basketball player of all time. And I was greatly entertained at a period of time where I needed entertainment because this COVID thing was about to make a Dateline episode in my household. It would have been a short one. It would have been a 10-minute Dateline episode. Keith Morris would have said, Rodney did it. I was tired of seeing all of these people having the same complaints that I couldn't fix. But yeah, Last Dance. And it also made more intrigue for the Laker thing we're doing now because the idea of a journey and watching something unfold, Last Dance helped.
We have a couple more comments and questions from the chat. One is from I Freaking Love Comics again with Rodney, your head looks pretty intact for having it ripped off by your daughter.
Oh, man, somebody really paid attention. They must know me. Somebody must know me from that to see that panel had my daughter ripping my head off. And they must know from other podcasts or knowing me that that's actually my daughter. Yes.
Is this one?
Yeah, that one. Yes, that's my child.
Really?
I had it marked. I had this oh my god, I had this page marked because it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole book. And I was while we were talking, I was making a sketch today.
Oh, that's great.
Just now.
Oh, that's great. Well, that person who actually may be a vampire is like 25 feet across from me right now. And I'm sure she would love to actually rip my head off. But that was another passive-aggressive move by Mr. Jason Shawn Alexander, who would like to see me dead. I don't think he could write this book, without me. But every once in a while, if you'll see the book, you'll see me die in really horrible ways. And that's his way of getting me back because he's a diva and he's never happy.
Well, we had one more question. Jordan or LeBron?
I got to say Jordan. And nothing against LeBron. Oftentimes when people say that, like Jordan or LeBron, that means if you pick one guy, you hate the other guy. But mostly because it was a different league. And in that league, like people fouled each other like really, really hard. Whereas today, if you just look at somebody with a furrowed brow, that's kind of a foul. That could be you can get a tech for just looking at somebody sternly, when they come down the lane. So if you look at Last Dance, they were clotheslining each other, and the Knicks would punch you in the gut and do all types of things. So unless LeBron had to play during that era, it's really, really tough, for me to give it to him over the guy that did.
Are you sure you're not from Chicago?
Not from Chicago. I've only been to Chicago once, and I don't know when I'm going back again. I don't know if I'm in a hurry. But the popcorn was really good. The Garrett's popcorn.
The Garrett's, yeah, that's pretty popular.
I ate a trough of by there. So much popcorn. I actually mailed. I sent out, and that's the height of greed is when you send away for popcorn. And entire trough of popcorn for me alone. No one else could touch.
Speaking of a scene that featured your daughter, Jen and Morris both love the part where Brittany is talking to her sister.
My other child. Well, what happens is when you have teen daughters and they're teens and they're daughters, one will start to question why she isn't in the book. My older children could care less, even though I dedicated it to my son, because of our wrestling matches from time to time. But when you have one kid going, oh, yeah, Brittany has a T-shirt and Brittany's on the cover and, wow, people really like Brittany. And, she's looking like at any moment she's going to shoot heroin if I don't put her in the book or something. I'm like, okay, honey, I'll put you in the book. Just remember, don't go do bad things because here you are, you're in the book. And Jason will come over and do his little photo shoot. And I'm like, dude, you got to put her in the book and make sure she gets her own page and to do the thing. Every book so far, they've all been in every book. They were in Brianna was in Falcon. Brittany is in Quincredible. Nobody was in Lando because I was afraid because the Star Wars people will say, no, Brittany and Brianna. Don't use those names. The Star Wars world. But in Killadelphia, they both will always be there. And, Brittany's immortal. So she'll always be there unless she really pisses me off and I'll figure out a really bad way to kill her.
So since we're on that topic, because that scene there, honestly, is my favorite part of the book. I really just like that throwback. And there's like a scene where your daughter and Abigail are getting out of a coffin. For some reason, that just threw me back to like Interview with the Vampire. Okay, beautiful. But since the way you're talking now almost sounds like you made that scene so that way your other daughter would also get a scene in Killadelphia. Are we going to see that sort of, I guess, conflict resolve or see the return of their relationship come back in future art?
You keep asking me these questions to give the secret away.
Sorry.
That they still have as characters beyond my DNA, they have things to do in that book. They have a journey that hasn't been completed quite yet. Mm-hmm. And, the resolution of it may not go in a happy way just because they're my kids.
I was going to say one of my favorite vampire movies is From Dusk Till Dawn, which I probably watched I was too young to watch that movie. But the part with Abigail where they're like in the where they're entertaining people and there's kind of like the strippers and they kind of
the
club.
Yeah.
Love that part. That reminds me.
Thank you. And there's the club is coming back in some form, but I don't know how, but it may.
Cool. But I just wanted to add that.
Dusk Till Dawn, Near Death. I mean, I'm not afraid to show an homage to things that have kind of inspired me along the way. I mean, like I said, Catherine Bigelow's Near Dark.
So good, Bill Paxton.
All of that stuff, yes. Bill Paxton, yes, I miss him. All of that stuff sort of is seeped in here. That was the stuff I stayed in the theater and watched over and over and over again. So even though I don't want to just bite off of what someone else has done, again, no pun intended, I still owe a lot to the stuff that sort of creatively kept me going in my formative years.
Did you have any comic creators that influenced you greatly in your writing or like just influence you in general with their work?
The beautiful part about being a comic book fan when I was a comic book fan was as a little kid, it was about the artists. It was about Neil Adams and guys like that. And then as I was getting older, this Alan Moore, young Frank Miller, Neil Gaiman thing happened. And I kind of caught that wave right as it was happening. I didn't have to go back and find it. And I was there. And sort of in a weird way, Stephen King was there for me as well. When they used to have bookstores. There's this old thing called a bookstore. And they would have the paperbacks on the spiral. I remember reaching up, and I'm 6'7" now. So if you can imagine reaching up, I reached up to get Carrie. And that was the first Stephen King book. I remember when it first came out. I did the same thing when it came to, Watchmen, V for Vendetta, Miracle Man, Swamp Thing. I can reach up here and show you a signed Swamp Thing CG. Let me go that way.
Oh my goodness!
The entire run of Swamp Thing CG Seed, and that's my moment to shine. Swamp Thing collection. But that when it became like literature, and you had more layered storytelling, where Frank Miller's Daredevil, before Dark Knight Returns, all of that stuff kind of breathed life into characters that I'd only looked at from a superhero place, a very one-dimensional place. Even though Denny O'Neil did a great job with Green Lantern and Batman, and that stuff moved me too. But this other thing felt real, and it felt like it was it was challenging the reader in a way that I don't know if comics had challenged in the same way prior to. Probably, older generations felt the same way. But those guys, man, the Neil Gaimans, and then being able to work with and for Neil Gaiman when I did American Gods was another honor, like from a fanboy place, and being connected to that world in in a very minor way, but still being able to be a part of it. Those guys, man. I mean, I kind of walk in the spirit of that, trying to challenge the reader a little bit and trying to do things that take you to a place that you don't expect. Jason asked me one time, when will Killadelphia end? It's like when I run out of ways to challenge myself and the reader. So there you go.
Has there been any particular page that you've handed him in a script that he's just cursed at and he's
a horrible person, that Jason Shawn Alexander. And he always does this thing like, God damn. And it's a really passive aggressive little thing that he does every time I turn in a script. And I purposefully, there's a rumor has it that there's a backup story in the next arc of Killadelphia. And that has nothing, it's not part of the Killadelphia universe. And I had begged him for years to do a story that he didn't want to do. I don't feel it. I don't like it. It doesn't speak to me. Blah, blah, blah. All the same Jason Shawn Alexander bullshit. And I wrote the first issue of it, and then he loved it. And I'm like, all right, I got him now, because I'm going to write the second one, and he's going to hate it. It's going to be everything I've asked for years, but he's in now. You can't just leave the fans hanging. You got to do the thing. So I've made sure that I wrote into all of the specific things that Jason hates. But I can't tell you exactly what those things are. But when you see him, just say, Jason hates that stuff.
Awesome. I can't wait. Issue 7 comes out the 26th. So
26, what day? We're 10 days from now.
Oh my God, already? Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait much for the next issue.
Yeah.
It's taking you in a different place, but in the same place at the same time. It's a weird thing like that. It's kind of like being in a relationship with the person you've broken up with. Like the second time around, it's going to be different. It's going to end up bad. It's going to end up in a bad place eventually, but for those first 6 months, it's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be great. This is different this time. We love each other again. We've learned from our mistake. And then it's 6 months from now, the police are at the door.
I can't wait to see Abigail Unleashed. I love that part where John Adams is talking about her. He goes, Abigail got very comfortable with saying no.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
That's the thing. Abigail's tough. Abigail, she didn't want the patriarchal idea of marriage. She didn't want any of that anymore. And poor John sitting there like, I got this hot wife and I still look like John Adams. And she's sexy and I'm John Adams. And, hey, baby, I'm married 200 years ago. That doesn't count. I want something different. He's just trying to do anything, but I'll change the world. It doesn't matter. He's still John Adams.
I think it's fascinating that despite all of her power that now comes with being a vampire, because she's fully embraced that fact that she is powerful and she can't be stopped, that even like hundreds of years later, she's still stuck, quote unquote, stuck with John Adams. Like she probably could have left him and gone to the opposite end of the earth, but yet she's still here.
She speaks to that, and I think it's a kind of obligation to where she's like, okay, you did do a thing, and you were the guy that you were and are, and so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt as a partner. And I think she sees herself more as his partner than his wife. It's book 6, I believe, where she says, I hated that title of First Lady.
Yep.
You know, that
Yes.
I didn't want to be the dutiful, you know, I'm supposed to be the dutiful woman waiting for him to come home, but I didn't want to be that person. I don't think she sees herself like behind him at all. And I don't think he sees her that way. I think it's just by proxy of him having been president and him, like, it's his plan. So I'm going to let him see his plan through. But if it doesn't work, I got another thing I'm going to do. And it didn't work. And so there's another thing coming.
Like, she wants to be the founding mother and not the first lady. Like, I love that comparison between the two. Yeah.
She's not going to be making a garden or, you know, working with the children or any of the things that first ladies do. She's going to do her best to take over in the way that she deems the world needs what it needs. So,
well, I can imagine those arguments if it's like 50 years in and she's like, you said you were going to do it. And he's like, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And he's like, it's 35 years.
You said 100 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Don't remind me. That is, it is bad when you start getting reminded of things you said you were going to do.
Right.
You said in 1876 that we would be in charge by now. Well, baby, wait, it's only 7 vampires. Give me time. Give me time.
Yeah. Remember that
It's the
time?
bicentennial. You haven't done this yet. Like, come on.
How long do I have to wait?
I'll get it done. I'll get it done. You don't have to remind me every 6 years.
Yeah. That's one of the bad things about immortality in relationships. They're like real relationships, except they're like till death do us part, and you just want to die. But
Oh, I'm feeling everything right now with this conversation. Everything.
Cathartic one. I had therapy yesterday, so you know. You think you didn't talk to me yesterday? You know, I may have started crying on this. Got me at a
This
good
is a
point
safe
right
place.
Now. It is.
You're allowed to.
I feel it. You guys started off as a uniform, the clockwise thing that I got confident. Now we're in a free for all, so I feel like I can just say anything.
Carlos is sitting there going, he said an hour.
Yo, Carlos told me the other day he loves me. Carlos doesn't love me. You don't love me, Carlos. You don't love me. It's not real love. That's that Carlos love. It's, you know, if you ever been camping and we were near a cliff, you'd say, "Oh, Rodney fell." You know. Carlos.
I don't know what happened. He was standing there and suddenly he wasn't. I don't know what happened.
Superheroes. Maybe he tried to fly. Who knows? That's Carlos.
I got to ask a question, not Killadelphia related, but when you were working on that Wu-Tang biopic, did you have to talk to any of them, or did you?
I talked to RZA. I sat next to RZA. RZA didn't have to come in every day because he's RZA. But I sat next to RZA at least 2 times a week. I'm going to give it that average over the course. And then I had to go to Staten Island. And there's a story that I can't tell about when RZA called me to his room at 3 o'clock in the morning after one night of shooting. RZA, if you're watching, you remember that night? I do. And so, yes, I've met many Woos, many of the Wu-Tang Clan, but RZA is the one that I'm the closest connected to, the leader of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, I wish ODB was around because that would have been an interesting conversation, I'm sure.
Young dirty bastard. His son is young dirty bastard. But yeah, RZA's my guy. I love RZA.
Who are you not connected to? That's what I really want to know.
I don't have that kind of time. That's when Carlos would pop in. I've had some adventures. I've had a lot of adventures. It's
I'm excited to read about them in Killadelphia.
Well, all of them can't. I can't put them all. I can't put them all. I can give you the sad, cathartic ones in Killadelphia. I can't give you the fun ones because they're fun ones. I was a professional wrestler for a short period of time. I can't put that in Killadelphia. So there you go. See? There you go.
Hold on.
What was your name? What was your wrestling name?
This was during a period of time when wrestlers used their real names.
Oh.
And the short part of it, there was a place called the Power Plant in Atlanta, Georgia. There was a period where I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and like now. And I was big. I was relatively strong. I was relatively nimble. I was always a wrestling fan, so why not? It's not real. Can't hurt me. and they had tryouts at WCW back then. And I went down there for a weekend, and they beat the shit out of me. They beat me so bad. I know there are a lot of beatings. I can't make that joke, but there are a lot of beatings over history that were really, really bad. I think the beating they gave me that weekend made me rethink wrestling and life, and said, you know what, writing could be better. You know, writing thing that you were thinking of, Rodney, when you were in high school. Maybe you should try that, because this wrestling thing, they made me cry. Like, literally, I was sitting in the wrestling ring in the corner crying, and I was like, that's not what I want to do. And
she's not right.
Yeah, I never saw Ric Flair cry before, you know, and I cried. And yeah, so there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of stuff. Been a very, I hope I don't die tonight. It's been a very interesting journey. That when I get to wherever I get to, you know, either the devil's going to have a great story before he puts me in the fire. I'm going to keep telling stories. Or who knows? If I'm up in the clouds, and like if they grade on a curve and they let me in, I'm going to tell the rest of them some stories too. And, you know, I'll tell the good stories. I'll tell the hopeful, encouraging post-heart attack stories then. None of the pre-heart attack stories I can tell when I get up there. But none of those weigh-in stories. Yes. Yes, I like.
Are you currently reading any comic book aside, obviously, from what you're writing?
Ice Cream
anything
Man.
in particular here?
I love Ice Cream Man. I love What Happened to the Children. What's the name of that book?
Something is killing the children.
Something is killing the children. I like the killing of the children. I like I'm reaching for something. I like The Strange Adventures.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I like that. Let's see, because I went to the comic book store, and I have this Batman. I'm trying to get this down to Joker War. What else? This is a variant of the Batman that I just had. Deceased. I like the Deceased. That's kind of like my fun. There you go. My fun.
Taylor.
Yeah, something to do in between Killadelphia when I run out of plot points. I just pick up books.
So, Rodney, it sounds like your pull list right now is like all horror related. I love it.
And I like this Pulp book that Ed Brubaker. Awesome. Yeah, I thought that was really good too. And I just finished Jeff Lemire's Sentient, and I thought that was great too.
Mm-hmm. The TKO book. Yeah,
that was fantastic. I really liked. I didn't know where they were going, and it could have been just another Lord of the Flies, and it actually turned out to be something different. I'm a big fan of that whole Lemire guy. So yeah,
he's a good one.
Yeah, I support my comic book store, Earth 2 Comics in Sherman Oaks. I believe in the comic book store thing. I wish, although I wish they were still at like 7-Elevens and places like when I grew up, more access. But $4 or $5 a book, kids wouldn't be able to buy them anymore. So
no. It's just all the adults.
And it's like 40-year-olds. It's like you got to be damn near 40 years old now. You know, I'm talking to not many. I remember when I first did Falcon, I went back to my hometown, and I went to the Boys and Girls Club, and I was giving them Falcons away, and they were looking like, what's this? It was like a comic book. And then you mean like a movie? Like, is this what you get when you go to the movie? And I'm like, nah, man. You know, I can't hit the Boys and the Girls Club. I can't hit any of the children. But I had they have this thing called, this is the thing you see in the movies is based on this other thing. And then the more I talked and the more they looked at me like, you know, thank you for coming. I wish you would just stop talking. You know, we got something free. You came, thank you. And you can stop now. And I felt it was my business to tell them that this comic book thing is good and it could change your life. Look what it did for me. And they didn't care. None of the children cared. None of them.
Where do you see the comic book industry in 5 years?
Man, you know, it's kind of like bookstores. There was a period of time where folks thought that like books themselves would be dead, and it would all be like on Kindle or digital or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's that belief now, especially with what a lot of companies are going through, that it's going to be all Comixology or digital. I think there'll always be comic books. I think there will always be a physical comic book. At least that's what I want it to be. So I'm going to say it out loud. I think something has to change in distribution structure in order for it to be beyond those of us who just love them. I don't know if the hardcore fan can keep a whole industry going and sustain itself, because there's always going to be something. If it's not COVID, there's something that's going to hit that's going to make it difficult to disrupt. And if you can't survive that thing, you can't be healthy enough to live beyond that. It's going to be hard to sustain it the way that we're doing it right now. Yeah. So my hope is there are always physical floppies, monthly floppies. If not, I'm doing a book for Lion Forge, Incredible, and we're doing another arc of that. And we're not going to do individual books. We're going to just do the collective trade. So if it has to come to that, I would accept that over nothing. But I hope it's always physical books. And, the greatest part about being a creator is you get to talk to people who are really passionate about this thing. And I just wish it was available to more folks so that we could create more passion. And, because it really is beyond that corner of people, that dark corner that you don't want to go down at 2:00 in the morning and they DM you things about how much they hate you and they want to kill your kids and set you on fire because of something that you've written. Instead of just saying, I didn't like that, I'm not going to buy it again. They have to tell you that they're not going to do it and that they hate you. Other than that little segment, it's a lot of great folks in this. It's a lot of great folks that are in this world, and being able to be imaginative and not necessarily having a movie or a TV show define for you and give you all the answers in your imagination as to what it should be. Being able to just simply read a book is a beautiful thing, and I hope that we get to keep doing it. Sorry, Andrew. Andrew
got booted off.
He obviously doesn't agree with my. Fine, you can take your social work and your firefighter question away. If that's how you feel. That's when you want to just leave us prematurely. And I stayed here extra time after Carlos said I didn't have to, and Andrew just left. Oh now you feel bad.
I think he's having connection issues.
That's God. That's how God works. God is on my side. Doesn't be part of this conversation anymore. Bye, Andrew. Hope it doesn't work out for you. No, I'm back now. Andrew, I was saying beautiful things about you. How much you still struggling to get on? All right.
Oh no.
Obviously, Andrew's in witness protection, and they don't have good Wi-Fi there. But yeah. Other than that, and Andrew obviously not, caring about his guests. I hope we have a comic book industry and that this thing keeps going. I don't want it to go away. I want it to keep going.
Yeah. I don't feel like it's going to go away anytime soon, but I do feel like there's some change coming to it. I believe that the insane amount of monthly books out there, it's ridiculous. Like going to a comic book store on Wednesday when you could go to the comic book store on Wednesdays and seeing so many new comic books at the same time. For me, it was like, oh man, I don't even know what I want to try. Mm-hmm. There's so much going on. I'm not even gonna
20 Batman books and 20 X-Men books and 20 Avenger books and whoever happens to be hot at the moment. I think it's really, really hard for the casual fan to walk in and say, where do I start? Because it's overwhelming that there's so many books of that particular thing. And again, here's the old man get off my lawn thing. There used to be a time when there was like a Batman and a detective comic and maybe World's Finest or another book that had a different idea of what Batman was, but you could kind of follow it, and it was issue 600 and whatever, and there was going to be a 600 and whatever after that. And now you have so many different books, and they keep changing the reality of, they keep the new 52 or the new this and the new that. And not to say it's all a DC thing, but the events and all of the stuff. It's hard for the casual person to just jump in. And I find myself following creators more so than the actual character anymore, because my faith is more in a person and I really dug their style of art or writing more so than the character. Like, I love Batman. Batman was one of my first guys. But it's really, really hard to jump in when it's so many different books and so many different storylines. And after 4 or 5 issues, another storyline starts that may not connect to the one that I just read. And it could be a completely different reality. So it makes it hard to embrace it in the same way that I did when my John Byrne X-Men run, which was my favorite run in comic books, a superhero comic. It's like I remember with anticipation. I had to get to the store, and the next one was going to be, with Scott and Jean going to hook up, but Wolverine really dug her, and kind of like a little soap opera, and it was fun. And now, she could
Well,
be
now
doing
we're all together.
Yeah. Yes.
Did Rodney rip on me like he rips on Jason?
Oh my God!
Oh, yeah.
No, my internet stopped working.
Sure. She left me. It was hurtful as a guest when I'm like, I said to piss Andrew off that he had to leave.
Yeah,
it bothered me that you just abruptly. You didn't even say, "All right, guys, talk to you later." It just went away. It was
Andrew, he's so upset with you that he doesn't even want to sit next to you anymore.
Yeah, I wish I was
thrown off the whole thing, because you should be on the other side of me, and now you're over there in the corner, and I don't even know. Everything's thrown off now. Now my equilibrium is thrown. It's okay, Sorry works in some corners. I'm not sure it works.
Yeah, it does.
But go ahead. Fine. I was good. You were my favorite for a long time with the social work and the firefighter question.
Oh,
all the other stuff, and then you just went away. Now my abandonment kicked in, and my therapist. I don't know if you'll leave again. You could just pop off and leave right now. But that's live with yourself. You've got a week coming up where you have to live with you after you hurt me. But go ahead.
Oh my God.
I actually miss being next to you. I don't.
It's this between us now. I'm actually glad you're way over there so you can't hurt me again.
Oh,
there's a question for him.
Oh my God.
My favorite of right now, Jason Shawn Alexander. I guess I have to say that. I like Adam Glass, not only because he's a friend. I like Adam's writing a lot. So Tom King. I like him.
Yes!
Yay!
There's a bunch of folks. We could stay on here for a while, like talking about this. I like Joe Hill, not just because he's related to Stephen King. I like Joe Hill as Joe.
Yeah.
I like a whole bunch of folks. We would be on here a long time if I start talking about everybody that I like. I'm not sure if I like Andrew, but I'm sure that I like. If I see Andrew's name pop up in a book and I'm at a comic book store, I'm going to say, you treated me poorly.
Can we
support Andrew's work?
I thought we'd be like in the 6-month, second relationship thing now.
Oh, you happy with the social work thing? And I could see you with little black kids walking around helping them, and then all of a sudden you just left.
I did.
You do this to the kids? Is this social work life?
In another life,
wow. Your clients go through the same,
the abandonment.
Depending on Andrew, and then Andrew just disappeared. Is that right? So you had me. And what if you were a firefighter? I don't feel like
not a firefighter.
But I get it.
I did work with wards of the state on the west side of Chicago.
I'm starting to wonder if you were a ward of the state, just because the way you left me is almost like you had committed a crime, and I was closing in on some kind of. You just.
I just was told I'm yelling, so I'm sorry. I can't wait for this me leaving you to be in the next story arc of Killadelphia.
Oh, it will be. It will
be.
He's gonna rip your head off.
And Abigail is depending on this person to get him through.
Yeah.
And, okay, he'll be there at 6, and then 6 comes, and everybody's, what the hell is 6? It's 6:07. Where? And they'll be like Andrew Jackson, or it'll be someone I find. You know, I'm very vindictive. Ask Jason.
I think this is actually going to happen. I'm not. I got
to find another Andrew because I know everybody had an Andrew Jackson. He did something. I'll find an Andrew.
Okay. Is he going to die?
Andrew Jackson?
No, like my character in Killadelphia.
As soon as we meet him, he may die. He may say, "You know, I can't." And then somebody comes in and cut his head off.
Aren't you glad you came on with us, Andrew?
What?
Aren't you glad you came on with us, Andrew?
I am so glad.
I'm not exactly sure.
Your first comic book appearance is going to be a crime scene.
Yes. Thank you, Kim, for that observation. But we're still in the throes of, Andrew and his behavior. I don't know for other people, but I certainly know how I feel.
Well, I'm glad I came back to get yelled at.
Yeah.
At least you're glad.
Wait till you watch the replay while you're gone from when you were gone.
Oh, no, it's fine.
And all those 17 people that love Rodney, all 17 of them, they may be canceled out by the 18 that hate me. But the 17 will say they'll come after Andrew and say, "Why'd you do that to our Rodney that we love so much?" He's so wonderful, that Rodney, and you did that. Can't you see that he's hurting? Thank you. Kim already feels. Kim, get him, Kim. Get him. There's a lot of sociopaths in this comic book fan world. Get him, Kim. And obviously, Andrew's one of them. More kids. I don't know if he works with the kids, but I feel.
I used to.
They just. That's why Chicago. Probably Chicago's because of you.
Problems, yeah.
Yeah. Andrew was on the south side of Chicago messing up those poor little kids. I wish I had known that before. Carlos is going to have to vet these from now on. Carlos, I need you to look into this a little bit deeper. Don't just say yes.
Next time, tell him only half an hour.
Thank you. Exactly. We never would have gotten to this place if I had just done what Carlos said and got off. They gave me the out. Dan was like, "Well, we promised Carlos." I should say, "Okay, guys, thank you, I appreciate it," and left. And
it was two emails he sent. Going, serious. Watch the time. An hour. He's got to be out in an hour.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to getting killed in Killadelphia.
You are.
I'm super excited.
Go back. I'm going to call Image tomorrow morning and say, "Do we have to make Kevin come out on the 26th? Can we give me a week? Watch what I do."
We got a social worker we need to kill.
Yeah, we got this guy Andrew.
Yeah, he's an awful guy. He works with children.
Well, we think he works with children. We don't really know.
He's actually trafficking children.
Exactly. Oh my God!
A license.
I'm glad somebody said that. He's getting these kids to mule drugs, to do all.
Is this I feel like this is just a brainstorming session for.
This is the writer's room.
Yeah.
This is the writer's room.
We were in a great place just a mere 15-20 minutes ago. But now, I don't know if you guys want to put this part of the interview up.
It's
live. I know, Dan. I can't tell you what to do. I'm just saying.
It auto saves. We're good. This is for posterity.
Yeah. There was a cat. I was happy. I saw a cat. It was a great question. It did. Thank you, Kim. I think Kim is going to attack Andrew when this is all over. Andrew. And
she's ready for that.
Yes. Thank you, Kim.
I think I'm going to retire from the. I'm going to retire from the reading comic book commenting game now.
You're going to treat creatives. I think you should.
I can't wait to read the comments tomorrow.
This is a great time to publicly thank Rodney. Actually, sent me signed autograph #1 issues, and I just want to publicly say,
only I know.
If only you know.
Did I spell my name right? Because if it's random, it's not worth anything. It won't be worth anything if I spell my name wrong. I just want
You're so generous.
Fortune. Carlos, I'm not forging my name. What color Sharpie was it? Because I always use one color Sharpie. I won't say which one it is.
Was it silver?
No, it's gold. God damn it. Here's my gold Sharpie right here. See? There's my gold Sharpie.
Oh, that, yeah.
See? There you go. I was having a good day. 10 pages done of issue 10. And then Andrew comes.
You got that DVR. You got that DVR show you're gonna watch.
That's true. That's true.
You're gonna end.
I had a plan. I was gonna get in the jacuzzi, and then I was gonna get out, and because you can't watch it while you're in, and I was gonna watch Lovecraft Country, but not now. Now I'm just sad. Now I'm gonna take some gummies and go to sleep and hope tomorrow's better.
Way to go, Andrew.
Sorry, I'm sorry RCN ruined this interview with its bad connection for 5 seconds. Sorry.
Sure.
It was more than 5 seconds, okay? It was an eternity.
It was an eternity ride.
I like when my father left me when I was 16. Yeah, you know, and we got a whole comic book series out of that. So that's how it felt. I'm not saying that's what it was. I'm just saying because feelings aren't that.
Yeah.
I learned that in therapy. But yeah, that's how it felt.
So I'm still gonna watch that Showtime show though. Even though you hate me now.
Kim doesn't find you first. Yes, she will, because Kim may find you and you may not be able to see after she finds you. But because Kim seems very passionate, and as well you should, that about the cruelty of some people that do certain things to guests that are kind enough to come on. But yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, thank you so much for coming on, Rodney. This is
All right, welcome.
interview.
Dan, Jennifer, Mars, Gambit. Really happy to talk to you.
And then the rest of you.
I'm going to acknowledge everybody else without looking at them because that's what I do when I'm passive aggressive. I don't make that. And I'm just going to say thank you all in quotes. And there you go.
Oh, Kim's happy.
Yes.
That's it, Andrew. You're in trouble.
Kim,
You know,
Andrew.
if our bond wasn't so strong, I would take this more seriously. But I know we've really connected.
Yeah.
I've really made an impression on you. So
I'm going to send one of those kids in there to get you. One of those kids is going to be like one of those killer kids that you see on Dateline too. Every once in a while, and I'm going to find one of those angry kids, and I'm going to send them to Andrew. I'm going to play this back. I'm going to say, "You see what he did? And get him."
Mystery comic box. I came to my problems. He sold me a comic box.
Does that make me an accomplice in murder? I won't say get him. I'll just say that's where he did. See what he did. Make your own decisions. I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah. So
I've had a great time. This took a great turn for me. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm glad.
Roasted by Rodney Barnes.
No. It's no roast. It's just my pain. I'm free enough due to therapy and Cheesecake Factory to be able to, speak my truth. I will name the kid Kim. Kim, if you do that thing that I need you to do, I'll get a Kim. You know what to do, Kim. Come on, Kim.
You're watching too many true crime shows on Netflix.
ID Network. Yes, ID Network. All of them. All of them. They all have a Dateline. Run. I'm hooked on Dateline. I'm hooked on crime. Yeah, hooked on all of them.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, well, you conjured it all. I was in a good place. This was a good day. It's Sunday. It's the Lord's Day. It was a good day until about 32 minutes ago, someone made a decision. Ruined the whole night. Ruined the whole conversation.
They're going, why is this happening?
I had made 5 new friends. And I was like, we're all going to get together once a week and Zoom, and we're going to be all great friends. And then Andrew comes along and makes a decision that ruins it for everything. And I'm like, really?
What you did, Andrew?
Thanks,
You
Andrew.
guys would have
Thanks.
loved to have me as a friend. And now man, I may get off Twitter now.
I thought about that for 3 years now, and I still haven't done it.
Yes. Well, I've got Carlos to manage all of that for me. You were right, Carlos. You were right. Right, Carlos.
It's gonna be I told you so.
A bonus.
Hey, Rodney, I'm not going anywhere. The more you roast me, the more I like you. I just want you to know that.
Well, okay. When those little kids come, when the angry kids come, and then nipping at your heels, and one killer one jumps up and bites a part of your neck out, then we'll see. Then we'll see how much you like me then. Because kids are vicious now. That's the little Chicago ones you were working with that you turned out and made evil.
Turned out. It's like Children of the Corn.
Exactly. You know, we can find the bad suit. We can go all the way back to bad children movies.
A lot of those.
Yes.
I had nightmares with that Children of the Corn movie when it came out when I was a kid.
There's like 10 of them now, and I don't go get it.
There's like 9 too many.
Salem plot with the vampire kid. After watching it on TV, my mom went out to my window at night and started scratching on it, saying, "Let me in."
Ah, there you go, the floating Ralphie Glick.
It was a Ralphie or Danny Glick. It was one of them.
One of the Glick boys.
Yeah.
The Glick boys
Crap at me.
tapping. That was the best part. Toby Hooper. It's great direction.
Yeah, that was good. The remake wasn't that bad with Rob Lowe in it, surprisingly.
It wasn't, but it was mean spirited. It was mean spirited. It was like the other kid, the good kid. He was really a good kid, and they made him kind of like an asshole in the
yeah.
And it's okay to have an innocent kid, but I do like the scene in the bus when all the vampire kids were like upside down when the bus driver came on and they all attacked him. That was kind of cool.
I thought Barlow was creepier though in the 1970s one, the main vampire, because he was kind of like Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, the blue. That's one of the covers for Killadelphia. One of the variants had that cover of a Nosferatu type cover. I almost had the job to do the Salem Slide to write the remake, the one that's coming now. Almost. Yeah. I
did not know that was happening.
And maybe they told me I almost had it so I wouldn't get mad. Maybe it was one of those Andrew-like things where they lead you in and think that you have something that you don't really have, and then they take it away from you as soon as you get close to it. And just because that's the kind of world that But yeah.
Is there any property that if you got the chance to write that you would just like jump at the chance?
Cold Second Night Stalker. If Moonstone would somehow allow me to venture into the world, I would love to have Carl Kolchak be a character in the Killadelphia universe. Because I love that guy.
I haven't watched that in a long time, but I remember seeing a couple of
Jennifer's upset now. Jennifer's left. Jennifer said, I'm done with this. I can't. I have one night to go. Jennifer felt bad because of what Andrew did. And
I was like, I need to take over some of the heat. Yeah. No, my cat was getting into something and would have knocked it off. So.
No excuses, Rodney Roaster.
No. Jennifer has a good spirit. I could tell.
Thank you.
Jennifer has a good spirit, and I could tell. Like Jennifer was like, I could tell from the beginning that she had a great heart, her enthusiasm. Andrew was kind of like, I ain't got nothing else to do. Let me get on here. You know, I'm in witness protection already. I can't talk to my parents. Let me talk about Killadelphia. There's nothing else to do. Shit.
Be warned, Andrew. Kids in suits is scary.
That's true. The Omen. Yes, the Omen. The first two. The Final Conflict, not so much. But the first two. Yeah, Doug. There's probably been others that I've missed. But yeah.
I mean, I'm still creeped out by the Phantasm guy, the tall man.
Yep. I remember the first two Phantasms. It seems like after you get past two, they dilute to nothingness. But I dug Phantasm. The ball that floated around and stuck in your head. Yeah.
I feel like with old horror movies, once you get past the second one, it's like, why? Some of them, a second one is completely unnecessary. You know? And
Well, it's like the Jaws movies. You know, after the first one, you get the second one, then they let me write the fourth one. And it's not even a shark anymore. It's about like a parrot that, you know, was born from a shark or something. So, yeah.
Sharknado.
Sharknado. I've never seen it, but I know it exists, and I know it's, you know, the funny version, but nothing beats the original Jaws. Another one, top 5 favorite Rodney Barnes movies.
Yeah.
Andrew?
I refuse to take Andrew questions at this point. I'm going to go have dinner. I'm not going to get in the jacuzzi right now because that would relax me, and Andrew has made me tense. I'm going to just try my best to not beat my children and enjoy my night.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Andrew has upset me so much.
Andrew, what have you
I
done?
love you guys. Whatever you see of your father when he comes out of the room, he loves you. It's Andrew. You bring a boy home named Andrew, I'm disowning you. You have children and they're boys, no Andrew. There you go.
I'm glad this. I'm glad we did that. You know, the next time I go to my LCS, I'm just gonna be like, you know, Rodney Barnes roasted me for about 35 minutes.
It's not true, right? You hurt me. Don't try to turn this around
I
on
heard
me.
that, man.
After you did the thing, I'm the victim here, not you. I was the innocent guy answering vampire
We all
questions.
saw it.
You left. Yes.
Yeah.
We were all witness to it.
As
So
well
he's
as-
gonna grab out the doll and be like, where did he hurt you?
I think I'm emphasizing more with Jason with these
Well,
meetings we have with Jason.
Jason does. I'll say this in closing. Jason will, like, I'll ask Jason a question, and Jason won't answer me back on the text. Like, he will just, like, you see the little bubbles pop up, and then he'll, like, it's like I didn't even ask a question at all. Like, whatever I had to think, whatever my question wasn't worthy of his time and attention to answer.
How does that relate to?
Because you left and you didn't. We were engaged. We were engaged in discussion, and you left. I didn't ask you to talk to me. You asked to talk to me.
Ooh.
So we are all talking, and everybody else was kind enough. Even the cat stayed, and everybody else was kind enough to stay here and talk to me. But not Andrew. Andrew had to go away. Andrew was busy, and poof, Andrew's gone.
Wait. First I had nothing to do.
You could have. Then you came back, and I'm like, well, why are you coming back? Why not just go? If you want to go, if this is boring you so much, why even come back at all? Just go ahead. Just go ahead and do your thing. There's other things to do. Sunday nights, a lot of good stuff on TV. You have to come back and talk to me. But you came back. And that was, okay, cool.
I mean, that has to account for something coming back, right?
Not really. Not really. Now you're taunting.
I tried that.
It's like when the girl gets a new boyfriend and then she wants to bring the boyfriend around you and they walk by your job in the window. She didn't have to come back. She get the new boyfriend and be happy. Don't show me you got a new dude. You have to come on. You have to do that thing. You have to post him and make him your picture on the thing just because of me. We just broke up 2 days ago. You got the new dude that's a little thinner than me, makes a couple more dollars, doing better. You got the two of you are happy in Aruba. And I couldn't afford to take you to Aruba. It's not like how you are, Andrew. It's exactly the same scenario.
You're gonna write my biography.
No. No. It would be short. It would be short because you're a young man, and we don't know how much longer you have after Kim gets the kids. So when you say biography, there's an assumption that more is going to happen that's good, or that more is going to happen. And Kim has already kind of laid out, the plan for when you treat people like me so poorly.
It's gonna be called Andrew. He abandoned us, and that's it.
Yes. And crooked, those 7 serial killer letters, like there'll be an A and then a crooked N, and
it'll be in
D
cursive.
Yeah.
Well, no, we have to do it in cursive. Yeah, we have
The
to
zodiac letters.
It could be in cursive because Andrew likes the cursive. That's what you'll never see in Killadelphia again. Jason had a whole cursive episode that he had issued that he had picked. Nope, not now.
Not anymore.
Andrew happy.
Oh my god.
Let DC Comics. Let the other guys. I bet you wouldn't do this if one of the other guys came on. I bet if Tom was on here right now, you wouldn't. Rodney, you disappeared. It's okay. Cool.
I wouldn't be on this episode if Tom was on.
You never know. Give Tom a shot. Donnie Cates. Get Donnie on. Get one of those guys.
Donnie's an interesting guy. Don't go at him on Twitter. Like,
I don't go at anybody if you know. I'm just.
You don't go in on anybody?
Except, well, you earned it. If you do something, if you're a malevolent force of evil on the earth, then, I think it's uniformly agreed upon that you deserve to be punished. So you're a different case, Andrew.
Okay.
Completely different case. You see, you bumped into Jennifer again. Jennifer muted herself, so she was doing something like
Yeah. Jennifer's
she didn't want the world to hear her beat up the cat.
she ran pretty fast, so it might have been she had to pee.
Yeah, something happened, and she didn't want us to hear it. So I'm worried about Jennifer. I wasn't worried.
She's in a 400 square foot apartment. Not far to run.
Yeah, I'm worried about Jennifer. Not Andrew, but Jennifer.
Anything could have happened to me.
No. You were fine. You were fine. You were okay. You have that. You're the kind of guy that's gonna make it. You're like that roach in Wall-E that was there. You're gonna be here forever. You're gonna be here. I'm gonna tragically, like a plane is gonna hit my house tonight, and I'm gonna be gone. You're gonna be here forever. It's always the guys like you. I thought I was out of high school. I thought I was past high school. The cool guys like Andrew that just kind of kick you.
Yeah, I was pretty cool in high school. Yeah, that was me. I was the cool guy.
I can tell. The way you treated me tonight shows me just the true colors of Andrew. Me and those kids in Chicago now have something in common.
I can't wait to promote this YouTube video. I'm gonna tell everyone to watch it.
I don't think you guys are going to keep all of this right now because we technically stopped talking about a half hour ago. I just don't feel like standing up.
It's
this is the brand of our show. I'm sad to say this is what it is.
It's always like this.
It was perfect clockwise. Everything was in uniform and everybody, the questions were up. Then all of a sudden, Andrew decided, you know what? The hell with this. I want to be Andrew. I'm in Antifa, and I'm out in the streets, and I'm going to start a protest against Rodney. Nothing to me. I'm going to start the thing. Bye. And then
everything was peaceful.
Jennifer got up at a protest.
Yeah, I changed my mind now. I'm back. Okay.
Everything was peaceful until the Fire Nation attacked.
I was going to make that joke.
And Andrew is the Fire Nation. Everything was working perfectly until Andrew.
Andrew came along with his entitlement and decided to just leave and come back. You know what? I don't feel like this anymore. And that won't come back. Everybody's going to accept me. Okay, cool. Guess what? I won't. Yeah, thank you, Kim. He threw off the whole vibe. We were doing so well. We advanced the whole decorum of how people in the world of comics should behave to each other and treat each other well. And then Andrew came in, with his meanness. There's another group you should probably join. I won't say the name because they'll probably come after me. But yeah.
Wow.
I'm sad now. I don't want to watch Lovecraft Country now. I'm sorry. We can't go for ice cream now. We can't go out
to protest.
Oh, no, now we've lost Jen.
That could be the cat. That could be the cat did something. I don't think Jennifer. I think
it was the cat.
Thank you, Kim.
I think Jen's phone might have died because she's using her phone as the streaming device.
A myriad of things that Jennifer has a reason to go away for, but not Andrew. Andrew's living better than all of us. And he should have stayed on when he should have, and he could have.
When the internet died, he should have stayed on, right?
I don't know if his internet really died. I don't know if that really happened. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jen's phone just died.
Literally just died.
All right.
Andrew, you killed her phone.
Get her phone.
I think
Another
we've hit a
thing-
good. I think we've hit a good stopping point. We're at 2 hours.
Well, I know all of this won't be on there, but I do, in all seriousness, appreciate you guys checking out Killadelphia and digging it and taking your time to talk to me about it. Truly.
Thank you so much for giving up your time and extra time to join up my little channel and talking with us about it. Means the world to me having you on. Like, it truly blesses.
You're more than welcome. If you guys dig the second arc and you want to talk again, I'm more than willing to talk to most of you.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank
Come
you
on,
so
Andrew,
much
get
for
the
the opportunity.
program.
Oh, sorry.
Bro,
I was
come on,
getting
Andrew.
bullied.
There you go, bud.
Thank you for making my night. Andrew held up like a different book. Andrew held up. Yes, exactly. Andrew held up.
Issue 7 is in
Justice
stores on the
League.
26th.
That's Empire. He held up.
Braveheart.
Right,
It's a
see?
cooking-
There you go. There you
It's
go.
a cooking book. I'm playing up the word Braveheart.
Close enough. Close enough. Close enough.
If you're watching this and you haven't bought the book, why are you here? Buy the book. It's
Yes.
$9.99.
Check it out.
It's
So good.
cheaper than renting a movie. If you're a horror fan, don't sleep on this. Pre-order issue 7, 8, and 9. Go to your LCS. Spend your money there. Keep them afloat.
Yep.
Support Rodney, Jason, Image, everybody. Mostly Rodney and Jason because that's what we're here for today.
Well, there you go.
Any projects coming soon?
A whole bunch of them. There are 4 new books. I can't talk about them yet. I mentioned one today. A lot of TV, a lot of film, a lot of stuff. Soon as it comes out, I'll send you guys a blast, and you can check it out and tell me what you think.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Thank you, and I apologize to Carlos.
Oh, by all means. Thank you, guys. Hope to talk to
Thank
you soon.
you.
All right. Take it easy. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Well, that was
Go again.
exciting.
Jen comes back
That was
now.
fun.
Sorry, Jen.
Wow.
Ah,
I'm sorry, that was
literally
super
my
loud.
phone died. Sorry.
Sorry, he didn't
Man.
roast you.
Okay, thank goodness. I'm like,
He said you leaving. There was a good reason.
there was like my phone is at 2% right now. So
I had to get it
Yeah.
turned.
Also,
You got so you got the benefit of the doubt. You got the I'm
She
really
good.
worried about Jen.
yeah, right. It
I don't know.
must be an emergency.
Must be an
Yeah,
emergency.
exactly. That's exactly what happened. It was an emergency.
So this was a fun ass episode.
it
It
was.
was.
Yeah, it totally was.
Dan, did you think we were gonna talk about Tom King on your Rodney Barnes episode?
See, Jen made me swear to not bring up certain topics.
Came up naturally, man. I think at this point, I really do. I think I agree with Rodney. I think you and Tom just need to sit down, have a little chat,
Yeah.
and we're gonna go from there.
But Jen's face, she's just like,
Jen, I think we had matching expressions when he said that, and we were just like,
I think so too. Like I was like, yeah, that's how I felt.
like looking down.
But I will have to log off because I have like seriously, it's at like 1% right now.
Yep.
So
All right. Bye,
I mean,
Jen.
I have to take my meds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody,
It's like-
for joining
Thank
us.
Tend to get itchy.
And the panel, and especially Rodney for coming on with us. And I'm sorry, Carlos. You heard him though. He said you weren't important. So it's Rodney's world. We just live in it, I guess.
Yeah. And
right.
I thank you, Andrew, for just like being roasted for half the show. That was kind of epic. It
Yeah.
was beautiful.
That was
That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
I tried my
Thank you,
best.
everybody who joined us.
Thank you for all the comments.
Yes, Kim. I think Rodney's now a fan of you because you
Yeah.
often do his dirty work. So take care, everybody, and see you next week whenever we do the show.
"See ya."
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.